The gunshot echoed across the dusty plains of Wyoming territory in 1882, startling 10-year-old Tabitha Anderson from her fitful sleep in the back of the orphanage wagon. She clutched her threadbare doll tighter, peering through the canvas flap as Miss Grimshaw, the orphanage matron, haggled with a red-faced man outside a dilapidated trading post. $5 is highway robbery for this scrawny thing. The man spat, gesturing toward the wagon where Tabitha and 3 other children huddled. $2, not a penny more. Miss Grimshaw's thin lips pressed together. Fine. $2 for the girl. She's sturdy enough for housework, and that's all that matters. Tabitha's heart pounded as rough hands yanked her from the wagon. The man smelled of whiskey and sweat, his fingers digging painfully into her arm as he inspected her like livestock. You'll earn your keep at my place, girl, he growled, shoving her toward his horse. A voice cut through the dry air. Hold on there, friend. A tall figure approached on horseback, silhouetted against the setting sun. The stranger dismounted with fluid grace, spurs jingling as his boots hit the dirt. He walked toward them, and Tabitha could see him clearly now, a man in his early 30s with a weather-beaten face, kind eyes, and a silver star pinned to his vest. Isaac Xavier, county sheriff, he said, tipping his hat to Miss Grimshaw before turning to the red-faced man. Mr. Donovan, I see you're acquiring help again. Donovan's grip on Tabitha loosened slightly. What's it to you, Xavier? Perfectly legal transaction. The sheriff's gaze fell to Tabitha, who stared back with wide, frightened eyes. What's your name, little one? Tabitha, sir, she whispered. Isaac nodded thoughtfully, then reached into his vest pocket. Miss Grimshaw, I understand the orphanage is struggling these days. The matron sniffed. Barely keeping afloat, Sheriff. Then perhaps this might help. He pulled out a small leather pouch and emptied several gold coins into his palm. $20 in gold for the girl. Miss Grimshaw's eyes widened. $20? Donovan sputtered. Now wait, not your concern anymore. Isaac cut him off, handing the coins to Miss Grimshaw, who quickly pocketed them. She's all yours, Sheriff, the matron said, already climbing back onto the wagon seat. Isaac knelt down to Tabitha's level. Would you like to come live with me, Tabitha? I have a small ranch outside town. It's not much, but it's peaceful. Why? Tabitha asked, clutching her doll defensively. Isaac smiled gently. Because every child deserves a real home. I'd be honored if you'd be my daughter. The word daughter made Tabitha's chest tighten. No one had ever wanted her for anything but work. I don't know much about being a father, Isaac admitted, but I promise to try my best. As Miss Grimshaw's wagon disappeared down the road, Tabitha took the sheriff's outstretched hand, climbing onto his horse with his help. That night, she slept in a real bed for the first time in years, tucked beneath clean sheets in a small but tidy bedroom that Isaac said was now hers. Sleep well, daughter, he'd said before closing the door, the words still strange and wonderful to both of them. 11 years passed, each season bringing new lessons and small joys. Isaac taught Tabitha to ride, shoot, and read. He braided her hair each morning until she was old enough to do it herself, and sat patiently through tearful conversations about the mother she barely remembered. For his part, Isaac never spoke of his own past, though Tabitha noticed how he sometimes stared at the horizon with faraway eyes. By her 21st birthday, Tabitha had blossomed into a confident young woman with her father's sense of justice and her own fierce independence. She helped Isaac manage their small ranch and occasionally assisted at his sheriff's office in town, much to the disapproval of some townsfolk who believed a woman's place was in the home. I received another letter from your admirer, Isaac teased one evening as they sat on the porch after dinner. He pulled an envelope from his pocket. Fourth one this month, from Thomas Riley. Tabitha rolled her eyes, though a smile tugged at her lips. He's persistent, I'll give him that. He's the banker's son. Could provide a good life. Is that what you want from me, Pa? To be provided for? Isaac chuckled. I want you to be happy, Tabby. That's all I've ever wanted. Their peaceful routine was shattered the next day when Isaac didn't return from town at his usual time. As dusk fell, Tabitha saddled her mare and rode toward Sweetwater, worry gnawing at her stomach. The town was unusually quiet when she arrived, except for a crowd gathered outside the sheriff's office. Tabitha pushed through, her heart pounding. Let me through. That's my father. Deputy Tyler Moore intercepted her at the door. "Miss Xavier, you shouldn't. It's Anderson," she corrected automatically. Though Isaac had raised her as his own, he'd never formally adopted her, respecting her wish to keep her birth name. "What's happened to my father?" Tyler's young face was grim. "The Blackwell gang rode through. Your pa tried to stop them from robbing the bank. He took a bullet." Tabitha pushed past him into the office where Isaac lay on a cot, his shirt soaked with blood despite the bandages. The town doctor looked up as she entered, shaking his head slightly. "Pa," she whispered, kneeling beside him. Isaac's eyes fluttered open, crinkling at the corners when he saw her. "There's my girl." "Save your strength," she urged, taking his hand. "Listen to me, Tabby," he said, his voice weak. "There's something I need to tell you. Something I should have told you years ago. Whatever it is can wait until you're better." Isaac squeezed her hand. "No, it can't." He took a labored breath. "Before I came to Sweetwater, I rode with a gang. Did terrible things. Then I met a woman, fell in love. We were going to leave together, start fresh. But her brother was the gang leader. When he found out, he killed her." Tabitha stared at him, struggling to reconcile this confession with the honorable man she knew. "I turned myself in, served 5 years. The judge gave me a second chance to become the man she believed I could be." Isaac's eyes were pleading. "I never told you because I was afraid you'd see me differently, that you'd be ashamed." "Never," Tabitha whispered, tears streaming down her face. "You saved me. You're the best man I've ever known." Isaac smiled weakly. "The best thing I ever did was becoming your father." His grip on her hand tightened. "Promise me something." "The man who shot me, Theo Blackwell, he's the brother. Don't go after him, Tabby. Vengeance only brings more pain." Before she could respond, Isaac's eyes closed, his breathing becoming more labored. The doctor moved in, and Tabitha was ushered outside, where she collapsed into Tyler's arms, her body racked with sobs. Through the night, the town prayed for their sheriff. By morning, Isaac was feverish but alive, the doctor cautiously optimistic. Tabitha refused to leave his side, sponging his forehead and whispering reassurances. On the third day, as Isaac slept fitfully, Tabitha stepped outside for fresh air. Tyler approached, his expression troubled. "The Blackwell gang's been spotted near Riverbend," he said. "Marshals gathering a posse." Tabitha's jaw set. "I'm coming. Your pa wouldn't want that." "My pa's fighting for his life because of them," she countered. "I'm the best shot in the county, and you know it." Tyler hesitated. At 23, he'd been deputy for only 2 years, learning the job under Isaac's patient guidance. "He'd never forgive me if something happened to you." "Then make sure it doesn't." The posse left at dawn, 8 men and Tabitha, riding hard toward Riverbend. They reached the small mining settlement by nightfall, the local sheriff directing them to a cabin where the gang had been seen. In the faint moonlight, Tabitha studied the weathered structure. 5 horses were tethered outside Theo Blackwell and his 4 accomplices. "We wait until first light," the marshal instructed. "Better visibility." Tabitha nodded, though every fiber of her being screamed for immediate action. As the others settled in to wait, she slipped away, circling the cabin to scout. Through a dirty window, she could see 5 men playing cards, bottles of whiskey littering the table. She recognized Theo immediately from descriptions: tall, with a distinctive scar cutting through his left eyebrow. The man who had shot her father. The man responsible for so much pain. Her hand moved to her holster, fingers wrapping around the grip of her revolver. One clean shot through the window, and it would be over. "Don't do it, Tabitha." She whirled around, gun half drawn, to find Tyler standing behind her. "You're better than that," he said quietly. "And it wouldn't be justice." "Justice?" she hissed. "Where was justice when he shot my father? When he killed Isaac's woman all those years ago?" Tyler took a cautious step forward. "Your pa taught me that justice isn't about revenge. It's about upholding the law, even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard." The truth of his words penetrated her anger. Slowly, she lowered her gun. "We'll take them in properly," Tyler promised. "They'll face a judge for what they've done." At dawn, the posse surrounded the cabin. The marshal's voice rang out, demanding surrender. What followed was chaos, gunfire, shouting, the crash of breaking glass as the gang attempted escape. Tabitha took cover behind a water trough, exchanging fire with a gang member who'd burst through the back door. She caught him in the shoulder, sending him sprawling in the dirt. Through the smoke and confusion, she spotted Theo Blackwell making a break for the horses. Without thinking, she pursued, cutting him off before he could mount. "Sheriff's daughter," he sneered, recognizing her. "Come to avenge, Daddy?" "I came for justice," she replied, her gun steady. "Drop your weapon." Blackwell laughed. "Your pa was weak, just like my sister." The mention of Isaac's lost love made Tabitha's hand waver slightly enough for Blackwell to lunge. They grappled, her gun discharging into the air as they fell. Blackwell's hands closed around her throat, squeezing. A shot rang out. Blackwell's grip loosened, his eyes widening in shock before he collapsed beside her. Tabitha gasped for air, rolling away to see Tyler standing there, gun still raised. "You all right?" he asked, rushing to her side. She nodded, unable to speak yet. Together, they watched as the marshal and his men rounded up the surviving gang members. "I couldn't let him hurt you," Tyler said quietly. "Your pa would never forgive me." They returned to Sweetwater heroes. The Blackwell gang's reign of terror finally ended. Isaac, though still weak, had turned a corner in his recovery. When Tabitha entered his room at the doctor's house, he was sitting up, color returning to his face. "I told you not to go after him," he said, his voice stronger than it had been in days. Tabitha sat beside him. "How did you know?" "Because you're my daughter." Stubborn as the day is long, she took his hand. "I almost did something terrible, Pa. I wanted to kill him. But you didn't." Tyler stopped me, reminded me of what you taught him. She paused. "What you taught me?" Isaac squeezed her hand. "That boy's always had a good head on his shoulders." "He saved my life," she admitted. "Blackwell would have killed me if Tyler hadn't." She trailed off, unable to finish. Isaac studied her face. "You look at that deputy differently now, don't you?" Tabitha felt heat rise to her cheeks. "I don't know what you mean." "Course you don't." Isaac chuckled, then winced at the pain it caused. "Just like I didn't know what it meant when I couldn't stop thinking about your mother all those years ago." As summer turned to fall, Isaac recovered enough to return to limited duty, though he tired easily and relied heavily on Tyler. Tabitha found herself spending more time in town, ostensibly to help her father, but increasingly drawn to the young deputy's company. Tyler Moore had grown up in Sweetwater, the son of the town blacksmith. He'd admired Isaac since boyhood, and at 18 had asked to become his deputy, a position Isaac had granted only after Tyler proved his commitment to justice over glory. "Your pa's a hard man to impress," Tyler confided one evening as they walked back from the general store, arms laden with supplies. "Tell me about it," Tabitha laughed. "He made me practice shooting until I could hit a can at 50 paces before he'd let me carry a gun." "Took me 100 paces," Tyler admitted with a grin. Their easy friendship evolved gradually, neither rushing the subtle shift in their feelings. When Tyler finally asked permission to court her formally, Isaac pretended surprise that had fooled neither of them. "About time," he'd said, failing to hide his smile. "Was wondering if I'd have to lock you two in a cell together to make something happen." Winter came early that year, blanketing Sweetwater in snow. As Christmas approached, Isaac announced his intention to retire as sheriff. "Town councils asked me to recommend my replacement," he said over dinner one night. "Told them there's only one man for the job." Tabitha and Tyler exchanged glances across the table. "You've earned it," Isaac told Tyler. "Though God knows why anyone would want the job." "What will you do?" Tyler asked. "Focus on the ranch. Maybe write down some of those stories Tabby's always after me to tell." That Christmas Eve, Tyler proposed during the town's annual celebration. As midnight approached, he led Tabitha outside the church, away from the music and laughter. "I know I'm not wealthy like Thomas Riley," he began nervously. Tabitha laughed. "If I wanted Thomas Riley, I'd have answered his letters." Tyler took her gloved hands in his. "Your father saved me, Tabitha. Gave me purpose when I was just a reckless boy. And you make me want to be better every day." From his pocket, he produced a simple silver ring. "I had your pa's blessing months ago, but I wanted to wait until I knew I could provide for you. The sheriff's position comes with the house in town. Are you asking me to marry you, Tyler Moore?" Tabitha teased, though her heart was pounding. "I'm asking if you'll be my wife, build a life with me. I can't offer much beyond my heart, and my promise to cherish you always." "That's all I've ever wanted," she whispered, as snowflakes began to fall around them. Their wedding the following spring was the social event of the season. The entire town turned out to see their beloved sheriff's daughter marry the new sheriff. Isaac, resplendent in his best suit, walked Tabitha down the aisle of the white-clapboard church, his eyes suspiciously moist. "I never thought I'd have this," he whispered as they reached the altar. "A daughter to give away." "You're not giving me away," Tabitha replied, squeezing his arm. "You're gaining a son." After the ceremony, as guests gathered at the hotel for the reception, Isaac pulled Tyler aside. "Take care of my girl," he said, his voice gruff with emotion. "With my life, sir," Tyler promised. "And take care of yourself, too. Being sheriff isn't just about wearing the star. I had a good teacher." Isaac clapped him on the shoulder. "The best thing I ever did was stop that wagon 11 years ago. Everything good in my life came from that moment." Later that night, as Tabitha and Tyler danced beneath paper lanterns in the hotel courtyard, she shared a similar sentiment. "If my father hadn't paid those gold coins, I might have ended up in Donovan's house," she mused. "Or worse." Tyler held her closer. "Then I'm grateful every day for Isaac Xavier's big heart. And his stubbornness," Tabitha added with a laugh. "He always said it was the best $20 he ever spent." Their first year of marriage brought challenges and joys in equal measure. Tyler adapted to the responsibilities of sheriff, while Tabitha divided her time between helping her father at the ranch and establishing their home in town. Together, they weathered the changing seasons, their love deepening with each passing day. In the spring of their second year, Tabitha shared news that brought tears to Tyler's eyes. "A baby," he whispered, placing a gentle hand on her still flat stomach. "Are you certain?" "Dr. Bennett confirmed it yesterday," she said, her face glowing. "We're going to be parents, Tyler." Isaac's reaction was even more emotional. After a moment of stunned silence, he embraced Tabitha, then Tyler, before excusing himself to stand on the porch, overcome. When Tabitha joined him, she found him wiping his eyes. "Happy tears, Pa?" "The happiest," he confirmed. "Just thinking about how life circles around. 11 years ago, I was terrified of being responsible for one child. Now my child is having a child." As Tabitha's pregnancy progressed, the three of them spent countless evenings planning for the baby's arrival. Isaac insisted on building a cradle, laboring over it for weeks until every joint was perfect, every edge smoothed. "What do you think about Isaac for a boy's name?" Tyler suggested one night as they sat by the fire. "To honor your father." Tabitha considered it. "What about Isaac Thomas?" "Thomas was my birth father's name." Tyler nodded. "And if it's a girl?" "Irene," Isaac suggested quietly, after her grandmother. Tabitha looked at him in surprise. "Your love? The one who died?" Isaac nodded. "Irene Blackwell. The only person who saw good in me when I couldn't see it myself. Until you came along." In late autumn, as the first snow dusted the mountains, Tabitha went into labor. Tyler paced anxiously outside their bedroom as the midwife and Isaac's housekeeper, Mrs. Holloway, attended to her. "Women have been doing this since the beginning of time," Isaac reminded him, though his own face was etched with worry. "Tabby's strong." After 12 grueling hours, a lusty cry pierced the tense silence. Mrs. Holloway emerged, her apron stained but her face wreathed in smiles. "Congratulations, Sheriff Moore. You have a daughter." Tyler entered the bedroom to find Tabitha exhausted but radiant, a tiny bundle cradled in her arms. "Come meet your daughter," she said softly. "Irene Isabel Moore." Tyler took the infant carefully, awestruck by her perfect features. "She's beautiful. Like her mother." Isaac joined them, his expression tender as he gazed at his granddaughter. "Hello, little Irene," he whispered, gently touching her tiny hand. When she grasped his finger, his eyes filled with tears. "She has your eyes, Tabby," he observed. "Same look you gave me that first day. Like you were sizing up whether I was worth trusting." "Best decision I ever made," Tabitha said, reaching for his hand. As winter settled over Sweetwater, the little family fell into a new rhythm. Tyler managed his sheriff duties while helping with the baby, often wearing Irene in a sling Mrs. Holloway had fashioned while he handled paperwork. Isaac visited almost daily, delighting in his role as grandfather. On Irene's christening day, the church was filled with well-wishers. Afterward, at the small gathering at Isaac's ranch, he presented Tabitha with a wooden box. "What's this?" she asked. "Open it," he urged. Inside, She found legal papers and a small pouch. The papers were adoption documents, dated just after her 21st birthday, making her legally Tabitha Xavier Anderson. The pouch contained the original gold coins he'd paid Miss Grimshaw. "I kept them all these years," Isaac explained. "Wanted you to have them someday." For Irene. Tabitha embraced him, overcome. "I was already yours in every way that mattered." "I know," he said softly. "But now it's official. And someday, you can tell Irene how our family began. With a few gold coins and a leap of faith." As spring returned to Wyoming, bringing new life to the land, Tabitha often sat on the porch of the ranch house, watching Isaac teach little Irene to garden. Tyler would join them after his shifts, the four of them sharing simple meals and comfortable conversation as the sun set over the mountains. "Sometimes I can hardly believe this is my life," Tabitha confided to Tyler one evening as they watched Isaac rock Irene to sleep. "From orphan to this of family, love, purpose." Tyler kissed her gently. "Your father changed both our lives. Showed us what it means to choose love over fear. He paid gold for a frightened orphan girl," Tabitha mused. "But what he really did was priceless." Isaac looked up then, catching their gaze. With Irene sleeping peacefully against his chest, he smiled, a man at peace with his past, surrounded by the future he'd helped create. In that moment, Tabitha knew that the true measure of wealth wasn't in gold coins or land, or even the sheriff's star. It was in the bonds they'd forged, the love they'd cultivated, and the legacy they were building, one that had begun when a lonely man with a checkered past had seen a scared little girl and called her daughter.